morning, everybody. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
It's not Monday, and yet it's still Board Game Breakfast because, well, we're not here Monday and Tuesday. So we're back today. Next week, Board Game Breakfast will be on Monday again. But hey, we're starting off with a bang with a contest for Mosaic. So Mosaic here, The Story of Civilization, a great game. I really like this one a lot. Quick, fast turns, Civilization-style game from Forbidden Games. And that is how you can win a copy of it. Now, you're going to win a copy of the retail version of Mosaic, which this is not the retail version. This is the big Kickstarter version.
This is the, what is it called? The Colossus Edition?
Colossus Edition.
It lives up to its name.
Yeah, so it's a smaller, more manageable game, but it's also a different color. The box is a different color, and that's the question for today is, what is the company color featured in all retail boxes of Forbidden Games? Pretty simple. If you look at a retail box, they're all very clearly one color. What is that color? You email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word Golden Age, because Golden Ages are one of the things you're trying to accomplish in Mosaic. It will help you win the game. So answer the question in the body, and we'll pick a winner for that. All right. Well, we're back from the spiel, Essen.
Here we are.
I don't know. I haven't gone anywhere.
Well, we're back. You should be thankful we're back.
Oh, I'm so glad you're back.
Yes.
It's a lot less quiet.
That's the first time you said that to me.
Oh, welcome back.
The dogs jumped all over me, and I went to do the dogs and accidentally pushed my child out of the way. And she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "No, I really love you more than the dogs. I
I'm emotionally
promise."
preparing for you to go to college in a few years.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was fun. But anyway, I cannot emphasize how much we have games to review. Please bear with us. There is no way on earth we're about to review the game you want us to review.
That one that you're thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
We'll get to it.
Give us a month or two.
You know, okay.
I don't even think we could do it in a month or two.
Yeah.
With the number that we have right now.
There's a lot.
You know when you go to the airport and you're waiting for your checked bag, and you're sitting there saying, and nobody ever says this, boy, I sure hope I'm that first bag. I would be willing to bet $1 million that I'm going to be the first bag that comes off the thing there. You never are.
I was the second bag
Somebody
once.
is.
I was the second bag once. I was so proud of that
Really?
fact. I live off that glory.
Wow, yeah, you peaked. You
Second
peaked
bag
early, Tom.
Tom.
It was one time I think we flew priority or something, so they tag your bag as priority, which does not mean you'll get your bag. I still have not got the one from Essen yet. So hopefully today, hopefully. Anyhow, we're still working on the new studio. It's going to still take a bit to get that together. We got lots of things to go over, but let's start with some contributors, and we'll be right back.
Good morning, Board Game Breakfast. My name is Amanda Paul, and I'm here to tell you about a game I'm really looking forward to playing in the future and what I'm going to do in the meantime to scratch that itch. So today, I am super excited about Turing Machine. This is a game that I got to play at the retreat a couple of times, and it made me so happy. I don't know if you remember these things from grade school, the logic puzzles that your teacher would give you when she just needed a break. I loved these. These were one of my favorite things, and Turing Machine takes that same sort of deductive, just pure reasoning and turned it into a game. And if you like that kind of thing, big if. So again, if those puzzles were fun for you, then Turing Machine is going to be a great game. If those puzzles were a horrible chore that you had to do because your teacher was sick of listening to you talk, then Turing Machine might not be a great game for you. But I am thrilled to play Turing Machine more. I've already pre-ordered it from Game Nerds. And in the meantime, I got myself a whole book of those puzzles that I'm going to burn through whenever I have some spare time to remind me how exciting logic puzzles can be. So that's it for me. Hope you're having a great breakfast, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Hello, Proti here, your Romanian content creator, and today I will continue my series where I will talk about a specific part of a game, and today we will talk about Castles of Burgundy. In Castles of Burgundy, you have your player board, which is a duchy, and by using dice allocation, you will try to get different buildings of different colors and different abilities from the market to your duchy deposit, and afterwards from there into your duchy, building it into your duchy. So really interesting there. Everything is done by dice allocation. Depending on the number on the 2 dice that you roll, you can take different buildings from this specific number market area, or you can build from the deposit to the specific numbered area in your duchy. You have goods that you can sell to get money and points. You have workers that can change your die value one step up, one step down, depending exactly what you need, where you want to build, or what tile do you want to get from the market. And you have money where you can buy buildings from the black market and put it into your deposit. But what I wanted, just like I said, there are different buildings, different abilities, different colors. In your duchy you have different areas where you can build on that specific color so that you get some bonuses. And every time you build a duchy, a building into your duchy, you get the ability of that building. Or there are buildings that have a continuous ability or a scoring ability. But one interesting type of buildings are the yellow buildings, which are the monasteries. All the monastery tiles are different. The other ones are usually alike, so you know exactly what's coming. But here in those yellow ones, the monastery tiles, all those tiles are different in the game. And what I like is specifically this one, which is giving me a lot of flexibility. This, if you have it built into your duchy, this monastery, it's giving you the possibility to use one worker to make 2 steps, 1 or 2 steps up and 1 or 2 steps down with your die, which is giving you a huge flexibility, because either you have to use less workers, or if you don't have enough workers, you can jump 2 spaces, which is giving you a lot of flexibility to use the dice, get the tiles that you need and build them in the correct spots, so that you can go easier with your strategy and don't have to use your dice to get more workers. This is what I wanted to discuss today about Castles of Burgundy. Have a nice break.
All right, today we're taking a look at a game from 20 years ago, 2002, called Wildlife, designed by an unknown designer, Wolfgang Kramer, which is not quite true. This game is ranked 2,734 on Board Game Geek, and I think Wendy would hate it.
Ooh.
Okay, promising.
So, because...
What would I hate about it, Tom? This is what I want to know.
It is area control, really, really, really mean in your face attacking other players. And I don't think you like that.
Yeah, probably not.
Blowing. So you have like a...
but do I get to be a mammoth attacking other players?
You can be any kind of race. You kind of customize your race as the game goes by. But on your turn, you have 3 actions, and I'm saying all this confidently as I look at my own review. A written review, go away. You have 3 actions, playing cards in your hands, but one of the actions you auction off to the other players. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do this action. Everyone auctions off for it. It's a once-around auction.
Wait, there's fighting and an auction?
Yes.
You're really not winning me over.
I'm not trying to. Use food chips, and then once everyone passes, whoever wins the auction immediately plays that card. So you do it anytime during your turn. Actually, that's a cool mechanism. Like, you're not bored on other people's turns because you may be able to take an action on their turn. And then there are different cards. Some have a specific action it does. Some show you different terrain, which lets you move creatures into different terrains, and take ability cards and adaptation cards, which lets you upgrade your stuff. And then there's wild cards, and you also get 1 free movement per turn. So you have these cards, you'll play the cards, but I mean, it's definitely like attack, blow up, crush, kill. I don't believe this game has been reprinted. It's odd.
For a reason. No.
It has, well, it's not a terrible rating. 2,700 for a game that's 20 years old. On Board Game Geek is pretty high.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone talk about this, though. That's really surprising.
Yeah, there's not a ton of reviews. I reviewed it. Uberplay published it, and that company's out of business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games out. I think people who want to play Wildlife will play Dominant Species. I feel like there's that crossover people who would like one. And if I remember correctly, this is a 2 to 6 player game, and Board Game Geek says it's best with 6. And that probably seems right. So it's long, and the ability for analysis paralysis is pretty high because you have a lot of different options. You know, when am I going to auction that card off on my turn? Which card am I going to auction off? Then the people who auction are like, do I want to spend money to go now in the middle of this person's turn? So,
Well,
I enjoyed it.
Makes me want to play it.
I gave it a 7.5. The board is not particularly beautiful. It's just a bunch of squares.
Whew, lovely.
There's some color in there.
But again, it also was 20 years ago, so I'm a little bit more forgiving on that.
That looks like 2002. Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, it looks better than Ethnos.
And Mr. Gruber says, I have this game, I hate it. Except for Trade on Board Game Geek.
With that glowing recommendation from Tom, make sure to send him your exclusive Kickstarter editions of Endless Winter.
I kept this in my collection for a while, but it is no longer there. So anyway, that's a game from 20 years ago, Wildlife.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Today we're on a mission. We are looking at Mission Red Planet. Fantasy flight game, 2 to 6 players. It is air control and hand management. So let's see how it worked out for 2 players.
Well, it works really well, too, actually.
Really good.
So let's put that on the table.
It's really good.
So basically, you're trying to control with the majority of astronauts on various areas of Mars where they're mining different minerals, and the winner of each area gets a certain number of victory points at various rounds. There are 10 rounds in the game. Or 11, and you you score 3 points in the game depending on the area majority. And the reason you have area majority is that you launch players in a tiny little rocket. There are a number of rockets equal to the number of players, so in our case 2, and you place your astronaut onto these rockets by playing cards from your hands. That's where the hand management bit comes in. You've got 9 cards, and each card has
different character on it, isn't it?
well, it's a different character sort of thematically, so an explorer and a saboteur and so on. And they allow you to put a different number of pilots onto a different rocket, or some rockets, or launch a rocket, or destroy a rocket, which is very take that sort of thing.
Yes.
And you play those cards in sequence. They're numbered 9 to 1, and they've got different powers on each card, obviously. And you do it kind of in a kind of rocket countdown: 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So when you get to your number, whatever card you've secretly selected from your hand to play that round, you play that down and do it. And so obviously if you've got number 9, you play first. If you've got number 1, you play last. And that's the trick of the game. Yeah, you're trying to kind of
more powerful cards, obviously less numbers.
Yeah, really neat little
and you
mechanic.
have to go 9, 8.
You have to do it in a kind of
we did 9, 8, 8, 8.
And so that's how it works. You get your men onto Mars, area control, win the points. That's it. Very simple.
Good fun. Very good fun. Lovely take that-y. Very good. I do enjoy a bit like that.
Really like it. Really well produced. Lovely, lovely game. Mission Red Planet, 2nd edition.
Great graphics and theme.
Yeah.
Really good. We really like it.
Big thumbs up on this one. Check it out. See you on the next one.
All right, this week is obviously a weird, truncated week since we only did a few things yesterday. Well,
Truncated is a good word.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Your word of the day calendar has been paying off, and so has your positivity affirmations.
We also were talking about pandas recently, so trucks are involved.
yes, thank you. Yes, I can't say any more than that because I don't want to trigger the one in the room next
The
there.
machine lady.
Anyway,
yes.
if you missed it, Wendy did a Q&A. There was a giant unboxing of stuff from Essen and other stuff. And in fact, a ton more stuff came in today.
I think you're under-exaggerating, Tom.
Yeah, maybe. So Roy reviewed the new quirky circuits.
That's a fun little box.
Why did I do a Q? I didn't realize. Okay, so anyway, we did 2 Q&As this week, apparently. I would not. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter.
All the questions will be answered.
All right, so what's happening? So today, me and my kids are reviewing one of the weirdest games you ever hear of called Spaceship Unity.
You should watch that review. Like, even if you have no interest in the game, going into it or going out of it, I think you should watch that review because it's a unique game.
Well, it would be more cool if I had thought to record us playing the game.
Oh, sure. But I mean, you should hear about it, is what I'm saying.
Just after this, today we're going to be, some of us went to Essen. We'll talk about that. We'll do like a little bit of a Q&A, just give some opinions. It shouldn't be a very long video. Some thoughts on that. You might have seen our blogs. And then today at 2 p.m., crowd surfing. Tomorrow, the board game breakfast, we said is no more, but kind of a replacement. Board game smorgasbord is starting. So that's going to have your Dice Tower news and a few other segments, a couple of them new, including the return of something many of you have been asking for a while. I got 6 games I played, so you don't have to, coming up tomorrow. On Friday, we're playing Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin. Me and Mike are going to lose that together. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
I hope it funds, Tom.
Hopefully we can give it that push over the edge.
Yeah.
What's it at right now?
$3 million.
know.
And then we got a few other reviews going up this week. Roy's going to take a look at some of the new Marvel Champions. We're going to be taking a look at Lacrimosa, 3,000 Scoundrels, and more. So all that stuff's coming up. Keep an eye out for it. But for now, let's keep on.
So I don't want this segment to be all about how to get rid of games. How do we keep games? Let's talk about that. What games should we keep? Well, it's very easy to keep the games we love, right? So if you love a game, of course you're going to keep it. But other games should we keep? Are you the person that brings the games to the game night? If you're like me, which I would assume most of us are, we are the people who brings the games. So it's always good to have a couple party games in our collection, a couple 2 players, a couple 3. What game works with 4? We need games that have fantasy in it for maybe the games that we like. But then we need the games that don't have fantasy in it because we know a lot of people who aren't going to be into that. So we're almost required, if we're going to be in our hobby, if you will, to have a wide variety of games. So make sure that you have 2 or 3 games with different mechanisms that you enjoy and that you will actually play. If you look through your party games and you're like, I would never play that game again, that's a great opportunity to get rid of it. If you played a game that just fell flat and you didn't have a good time, great. You're the curator of your own collection. Get rid of it and move on, because there are so many games and so many new games coming out that you can find the perfect 2 or 3 games in a genre that you maybe don't like that much. Now, if you're like me and you really like worker placement games, well, you might have a whole bunch of those because you're going to play those a lot more. So in this segment, I want to concentrate just on the games that you're going to keep. If you're the provider of games for your friends, then make sure you set aside 5, 6, or however many games you want in each genre that you want to play. Party games, worker placement, Euro games, thematic games, dungeon crawlers. And those games aren't going to be touched. Go put those on a shelf. Those are your holy grail. That's when you walk into a room, they just light up with joy. Those are the games you're going to keep. Put those aside. Bring those out more often and have a great time gaming.
Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to be showing you my latest story mode for the Red Cathedral. It is called the Ivan story because it is set in the true kind of events based on Ivan the Terrible story, set in those 6 years in which he was getting the Red Cathedral built. So it takes the inspiration from those actual events and then gives you variants through those stories in which you will get to build the Red Cathedral. So it gives you 6 more games that you get to play with slight variations and keep the story interlinked with each other as you play as, well, the contractors who are playing for Ivan, as well as the blessed one who was there at that time. So if you are interested in that and adding a little bit more theme to your game, then get this file from the Red Cathedral BGG file section called the Ivan story. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
Welcome to a new segment of this show where we're going to take a look at one of the shelves in the Dice Tower library, and then we'll tell you the best game on that shelf, IMO.
Shelf 1A. Sorry.
No, that's fine. As I shouldn't have to say is what I was going to say. All right, here's the shelf. Shelf 1A has 2 copies of El Dorado, The Quest for El Dorado. One is an expansion, kind of a follow-up to that. Here we have a bunch of Madigo games, River Dragons, trying to build little bridges across the river. Captain Sonar, a 4 versus 4 style real-time battleship game. Paris New Eden, a dice drafting placement game set in a dystopian future. Treasure Island, a game in which you are trying to catch one person using actual compasses and things like that. Dice Town, a silly game where you're rolling dice trying to get good poker hands. Pret-a-Porter, a heavy Euro game about designing clothes. Legacy, the Testament of Duc de Crécy. This is my Portal area, by the way. This is a game about Building a Legacy, a Family-Wise. Alien Artifacts, a game about collecting alien technologies. 51st State, one of Z's favorite games. Imperial Settlers, and then the sequel to Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. Hiroshima Hex, one of the first games we saw from Portal, and Monolith Arena, which is kind of a fantasy version of Hiroshima Hex. All right, so the question is, what's your favorite game on that shelf?
I really like Pret-a-Porter. I mean, that guy looks really awesome with his like giant googly eye and his fancy
I don't think the googly eye is.
That's why
comes
I
with
like
the
the
game.
game. No, it doesn't come with the game. No, but I really enjoy just the mechanisms of you're building up your business and you're doing all that economic stuff, but you're also making pretty clothes and you're collecting nice colored thread and all that fanciness. I really enjoy a lot of what's going on in that game.
I'm really torn between two very different games between Captain Sonar and Pret-a-Porter, because Pret-a-Porter is very solid, awesome, excellent worker placement game, a lot of just really tight decision stuff. But Captain Sonar is just so great and unique of a convention game. I'm going to lean towards Pret-a-Porter, though.
Oh, good. Then I'll say Captain Sonar.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, there's almost no game on this shelf that I dislike. No, I don't dislike El Dorado.
I'm saying that's mine.
Mike doesn't like
Mike
Eldorado.
whispers El Dorado, but dispatch it.
That's like the only non-Madigo, non-Portal game on that shelf.
That is true. That is true. It's the first shelf in the collection. 51st State, I'm not loving, although I heard that the new version's better. I played the original version. And then I liked Imperial Settlers, which is the follow-up to 51st State. And then...
I've only played 51st State Master Set, which I think is like the currently most current.
That's what I'm saying. I
version
think that
of
one's
it.
better.
And then there's going to be the Ultimate Edition, Tom. That's going to fulfill eventually.
And
then a year later,
I'm so over Ultimate Editions of games.
What's
Ultimate
bigger,
Edition
Ultimate or Mega?
Redux.
Anywho, also I really
Colossus.
like Empires of the North a lot. That's a really solid 2-player game, and Dice Town's super fun. There's a lot of great games on the shelf. Paris, New Eden is a very underrated game. That's what I would, of all the games on the shelf. I bet you guys haven't played it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's a lighter, medium weight dice drafting point game. Anyhow, that's a shelf. Let's keep going.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen the Board Game Librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment From the Page to the Table, where I pair books and board games together. This week we're taking a look at a book which maybe in its time was something, and its series of books was also something, but the one I chose was You Only Live Twice by Ian Fleming. So this is a James Bond book. This particular one takes place in Japan, and Bond is looking to take down this kind of, they're calling it a murder castle, not to be confused with the murder castle out in Illinois from the World's Fair. So there's a lot of time spent on Bond trying to learn Japanese culture and things like that. The movies are better. Hopefully the movies are better and less this, if you're getting my drift. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this book. I read it because Modifius had sent me a copy of Spectre, the board game. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, 20 to 45 minutes, ages 14 and up. So this is way better than the book. So here you are taking on a classic Bond villain. I'm a big Bond fan here in this house, and you are looking to complete missions, stave off Bond, and be the ultimate winner. This game is out at Target, so I love that it has kind of a wide appeal for folks, and that it can be available to a larger audience. I liked it a lot at 2 players. I think once you get past the rule book, which has some flaws in it and maybe needs a re-edit, I think you might actually enjoy this one. And it can get more people into the hobby because theme. That's all for this week, friends. Happy breakfast.
All right, finally, behind everyone else on Earth, I saw Top Gun Maverick.
Not behind me.
Yeah, we're in front of this person.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
I saw it on the plane home.
That's where I saw it. I saw it on the plane flight, as it was meant to be seen.
Yes. On an 8-inch screen in the back with a person in front of you reclining their chair. Wait.
I didn't have that problem, but I brought good headphones too.
Yeah, I did. I brought my studio cans because, yeah, if I'm going to have to watch a movie on a screen this big, I at least want it to sound great.
Can you Bluetooth onto those screens? Or do you have to have a plug-in?
You can buy a device that you can plug into them that lets you Bluetooth to them.
We have one of those in our car.
Yeah, in our car, on our radio.
I think that works on the plane too.
I didn't think of that, but you're right.
But anyhow, this movie was clearly meant to be seen on the screen. I would love to have seen it in IMAX.
Oh my gosh.
I think. Because
action movie?
And there's specific...
Yes, but it's all about jets. You gotta like jets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about seeing jets fly. I mean, yes, there's the
beach sports scene was meant to be seen on a big screen.
Actually, I like this beach
playing
sports
volleyball?
scene way better than the one in the first one. This one feels a little less exploitive, I think, maybe.
Tacked on
90210?
Yeah, this one they're just playing a football match. The first one was beach volleyball, and I was like,
it was
wait.
very like...
Okay, fine, whatever. Move on. I liked it. I would give it, I know this is anathema, I would give it a 7 out of 10. And that's because it was a nice movie. The movie that I would closest compare it to is Rocky Balboa. Okay. So Rocky Balboa, which I really like. I like a lot more than this movie, but that's just I like Rocky a lot. But you see him come back, he's old, but he still got it, fights, cool. But it shows him, and you see everyone as their lives have moved on. That's the exact same thing here. And in fact, and to me, the best scene in the movie is where you see him meet Ice.
Oh my gosh.
From the first movie. I thought that was the best scene in the movie because it really leans hard in nostalgia. Also, for me, real life bled into that a bit.
Oh, 100%.
So,
because, I mean, there's moments where he's texting Val Kilmer's character, and you know in real life Val Kilmer has gone through a lot of just really difficult stuff. So I thought, oh, that's weird that he's just showing these text message conversations, you know, because, well, you can't have Val Kilmer in the movie. You just can't.
But you did. Yeah.
I was wrong. I mean, I thought that was a really appropriate touch. There's a lot of callback. There's a lot of nostalgia. Some scenes very distractingly so. Like some scenes are just so on the nose. But then there's other moments like that really pull on the heartstrings in the right way and make me, appreciate the original film. But I don't know. For each misstep, I thought that there were at least 3 scenes that did nostalgia and callback and stuff in a way that was actually impactful towards the movie instead of the current trend of, you remember this? You remember this?
Yeah, it wasn't like that. And I think you could see this without having seen the first one.
You could.
Yeah.
You might not get all the different relationships and stuff. But yeah, I liked it. The action scenes were really good. They did a very good job at making the bad guys the least personalized bad guys in the world. I don't know that you ever saw one without the helmet on. They never said what country they were from, nothing. Because this was not about the bad guys. This was about finishing a mission, I think.
The original movie, same way, right? They're like, oh, bogey's incoming. That's all the backstory you need about the bad guys.
I'm okay with that, because that's distracting. I mean, like most movies are made on the bad guy, if it's a great bad guy.
Right.
This has no bad guy, except for...
There's stuff to shoot down.
I guess John Hamm is...
John Hamm was a very surprising casting, because I know, I've never seen him in, a military role. Serious guy. He
played that part well.
He did, right? Because he plays goofy roles extremely well. He plays suave, debonair roles very well, but I've never seen him in kind of this, I'm the military leader. I'm an admiral kind of a thing.
Who was the guy at the very beginning? It was the first general that was shutting everything down? Ed Harris. He's also a good bad guy. I was surprised that he kind of was like, I'm here. See y'all. And then wasn't there the rest of the movie. Was he? I don't think he was in the rest of the movie at all.
I don't think so.
Anyway, if you like watching fighter jets fly and see people do cool things and see young, hip, somewhat forgettable actors. I don't remember any of them, actually, except for the Miles...
Morales.
Can you be hip
No, not
and
Miles
forgettable at the
Morales.
same time?
Huh?
Can you be hip and forgettable at the same time?
Yes.
There was a lot of those characters I will not remember. I only remember the two main ones because they were almost carbon copies of Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer from the first one. Almost to the point of the roles were reversed. They did that on purpose.
Yes.
But other than that, they kind of acted the same.
Yeah.
It was really, yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot of clear nostalgia kind of callback, very self-referential, and yet none of it really bothered me to the point of pulling me out of the movie. Well, like I said, like a few scenes.
I wonder what made this different, because there's so many movies that are terrible number twos or terrible, hey, we're going to come back in 20 years.
These legacy sequels. They're
Yeah. I wonder what
Good
made this
acting.
better.
Really good jet scenes. I mean, that's like, again, if you like watching fighter jets fly, there's really good scenes.
So on the same plane flight, because it's like 8+ hours, I also watched Jurassic World Dominion, and we might cover that later, but I'll tell you, there's a marked difference in the fact that this movie, Top Gun Maverick, felt like it was actually about human characters, and so you cared about them. You got into an action scene, and you cared about them in an action scene, but also the action scene was intense and felt very visceral and real. They put cameras into cockpits of fighter jets. They had people sit in the back seat of it, and so you're getting all these amazing shots. It feels very much like they're there because they actually are. It's not just like a big CG and rubber puppet fest that kind of Jurassic World Dominion was. So I don't know. It just feels a little bit more, ironically, for a movie about planes,
more
grounded.
Also, didn't leave any room for a sequel, as far as I can tell. Feel like it's done.
And I'd be very happy with that.
All right, anyway, that's Top Gun Maverick. Let's keep going.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Now, there's been a range of games coming out recently, such as Millie Flory or the Guild of Merchant Explorers, that feel like roll and writes, flip and writes, that genre, but I've just taken sort of at least some of that components and changed it around. No longer you drawing on a map, you're placing cubes and these little village things out across your map, and instead of just ticking off boxes, you're placing these glass tokens onto spaces on the board. Now, first of all, it takes the experience, in this case, into a way that everyone can play on the same board. Something that not many roll and writes do, but it still feels like it because you've got that sort of the combos and you're sort of checking off boxes in different areas. And then in this one, it makes it feel like you're doing something a little bit more. Certainly when you're putting down the villages, it feels a little bit more permanent than just drawing a circle to say, yeah, that's a village space now, and things like that. I think both of these two games could probably be just pen and paper in some kind of guise. And it does mean that they're much more expensive than they probably would have been. It's at least interesting that the publishers are taking these styles of games, maybe not 100% would be roll and writes or flip and writes or whatever, but they're taking a similar style game and giving it a production quality. And it makes me think, I wonder if that's the new trend. Let me know if you think that's going to be where it's going. We're going to get either print and play roll and writes or these sort of bougie ones, rather than just in the middle of pen and paper. Let me know what you think, and until next time, enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Hey, I'm Jordan. Over the summer, I got to play a game I've been wanting to play for years. I got Matthew McKeck and Justin McKeck taught it to me, and it was awesome. It was called Let's Make a Bus Route, and it's, that flip and write game with a dry erase board, and it's super good, and I wanted to get myself a copy. So I got Get On Board, which is kind of the one that's available here in North America. This is from Yellow, and it's just kind of a reprint of it with a different title and a different kind of coat of paint over it. Feels very similar, only instead of a shared dry erase board, you're using you have a shared board, but you're going to put out like little road markers, think like the Catan roads, that kind of marker, and you're putting those around the board. But in this game, you are trying to connect different parts of the board, different stops along these bus routes. You're trying to pick up passengers. You're trying to take tourists to landmarks. You're trying to take college students to universities, that kind of thing. And you're going to use these personal boards, and you're going to be marking off and checking boxes and all that fun, flipping right, rolling right kind of goodness, checking boxes, writing numbers down, that kind of stuff. But it works, you know, it has that same core of a lot of other roll and write games, flip and write games, but it just works really smoothly. It has a nice level of complexity to keep you really interested and invested from game to game, and keeps the replayability there, but it has a level of simplicity to really get you in quickly, which I really appreciate in these types of games. This is the third in a trio of mass transit themed flip and write games, in my mind, with Metro X and the new Next Station London, and I think all three are fantastic. I don't know how I would compare them to each other, because they still feel oddly different, even though they have very similar thematically and mechanically. But this one is up there right with them. If you're into either of those games, check this one out too. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
All right, we got 2 more live things today. In 25 minutes, we'll talk about our Spiel experiences in Essen. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll be back with crowd surfing and a couple other videos going up. But we'll see you all Monday. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
There's a contest at the beginning of the video. Check it out. Until then, stay in the danger zone.
How do you feel about Spiel?
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.